Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that extracts the most important insights from your sources, helping you become truly well-informed quickly.
Today, we're diving into a universal dream, escaping the daily grind, living more, and experiencing freedom now, not just in some distant retirement.
We've all wrestled with that question, haven't we? Is the conventional path to success actually keeping us from, living the life we really want?
It's a powerful thought. And our mission today is to deep dive into Timothy Ferriss's really revolutionary book, The 4-Hour Workweek.
Right?
And this isn't just about cutting work hours, is it? It's more like a radical blueprint for what he calls lifestyle design.
Lifestyle design.
Yeah, a complete redesign of your life to maximize time and mobility. We're going to unpack the core principles, the surprising strategies in the book, basically give you a shortcut to understanding this whole approach.
Ferriss kicks things off by challenging some really fundamental assumptions about work, about life. He introduces us to what he calls the new rich. Now, these aren't your typical millionaires hoarding cash.
No, not at all. They're people who've consciously abandoned the deferred life plan,
Yeah.
Work forever, retire later.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how Ferriss really saw the whole digital nomad thing coming, didn't he? The gig economy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He showed that wealth wasn't just about piling up money. It was about liberation. It's kind of a blueprint for how lots of people are trying to live today.
It's almost like that Oscar Wilde quote, everything popular is wrong, but applied to careers.
It really is a paradigm shift. Ferriss argues, pretty convincingly, I think, that most people are just playing by old rules. Stuck in that cycle, work endlessly, save, then live maybe decades later.
He gives some pretty compelling examples, too.
Oh, yeah, like Dale Smith, the Olympic skier,
Yeah.
gold medalist, driving a Lamborghini at 21.
21? How?
He and his brother, who was only 15, built an internet IT company. Not to retire someday, but to fund their Olympic dreams now. Or Julie and Mark, sailing around the world, 15 months, 15,000 miles.
That must have cost a fortune.
You'd think so, right? But it cost them between $18,000 and $19,000 total.
Get out. Seriously.
Seriously, less than rent in a city like Paris, he points out. These aren't just weird one-offs. They're the result of rewriting the rules.
Those are powerful examples. But, okay, for our listeners who feel maybe stuck on that conventional path, what's the very first hurdle? Because stepping off feels, terrifying for most people.
Yeah, and that terror often leads to paralysis, right? Ferriss hits this head-on with something he calls fear setting.
Fear setting, not positive thinking then.
Kind of the opposite, actually. It's actively defining your absolute worst-case scenario, what really happens if you fail.
Okay.
He quotes Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, who basically said, imagine the worst, live with it in your mind for a bit. Is this what you feared?
So confronting it directly.
Exactly. Because often fear just hides behind vague optimism, like, oh, it'll be fine eventually, when really you're just avoiding action because of these fuzzy anxieties.
So this fear setting isn't just like a mental trick, it's practical. Almost like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, applying ancient philosophy.
Right. You literally write down your fears, the worst outcomes, how you recover. It disarms them.
He tells that story about his friend Jean-Marc in Ghana.
Yeah. Volunteering, tough conditions, living on cornmeal and spinach. And Jean-Marc had this epiphany. You know what? The worst really wasn't that bad. The goal is to see that most fears are reversible, or at least survivable. Like Hans, the lawyer who quit to start a surf company in Brazil.
Right, he was terrified.
Totally. But the worst didn't happen. And even if it had, he could have gone back to law, right? It wasn't the end of the world.
Okay, so you face the fear, maybe you neutralized it a bit. Then Ferriss says you need to build your ideal reality. That's dreamlining.
Exactly. Dreamlining. It's designing your ideal lifestyle, but not just with a target income number.
How so?
It's about specific dreams. Things you want to have, be, and do within, say, 6 and 12 months. This is key because, as he says, living like a millionaire isn't just owning stuff. It's about doing interesting things.
And this is where it gets really wild, I think. He shows how these seemingly crazy dreams like, an Aston Martin or a round-the-world trip.
Yeah, hitting Tokyo, London, all the big spots.
Can actually be surprisingly affordable when you break them down.
Right, like the car might be, maybe $2,000 a month? The world trip, maybe just under $1,400.
Often less than your rent.
Exactly. The key is shifting how you think about money, monthly cash flow, not just lump sums, and realizing that when your time and location are free, your money stretches. It's worth like 3 to 10 times more.
That alone just flips the script on what seems possible.
Totally. So with dreams defined, we hit the E in his deal framework. Eliminate. Eliminating the non-essential.
And first up is something he calls the low information diet.
Yeah, basically cultivating selective ignorance. He argues that constantly consuming news, social media, all that info, it's a massive time suck.
Yeah.
And often, it's not even productive.
He takes a pretty extreme approach himself, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Radical. Rarely watches the news, hardly ever buys newspapers, limits himself to maybe 4 hours a month of essential industry stuff.
4 hours a month? That sounds almost impossible today. How does he justify that? What's the logic?
The logic is pretty simple. Let other dependable people filter it for you. Synthesize the important stuff.
Like having free personal assistants.
Kind of. He gives the example of deciding who to vote for. Instead of drowning in news, he emailed smart friends, asked friends abroad for an outside view, watched the main debates, gets the core info, cuts the noise.
Okay, that makes sense. And this idea of cutting noise, it extends to interruptions too, right? Email, calls.
Absolutely. He calls it interrupting interruption and the art of refusal.
The art of refusal. I like that. What are some practical strategies he gives?
Simple stuff, but powerful. Check email twice a day, max.
Twice.
And never first thing in the morning. Turn off all the pings, the audible alerts. The goal is to train people around you to be efficient. And crucially, learn to be difficult when it counts.
Difficult. How so?
It applies to meetings, too. Always define an end time. Aim for 30 minutes tops. Use if-then structures in emails to avoid endless back and forth.
Proactive communication.
Right. He tells that funny story about his Princeton TA. Apparently, the TA learned not to give Ferriss less than an A because it meant a guaranteed 3-hour grilling during office hours.
So it's about setting boundaries to force efficiency.
Exactly. Funnel communication towards action, not just talk.
Okay, so we've cleared out the non-essential info and interruptions. Then Ferriss brings in two heavy hitters, the 80-20 rule and Parkinson's law. Let's start with 80-20, the Pareto principle.
Right. 20% of your efforts yield 80% of your results. We've probably all heard it.
But he applies it really dramatically to business, specifically to customers. What happened when he did that?
It's pretty shocking, actually. He describes firing 97% of his wholesale customers.
97%?
Yeah. Kept only the top 3%, the real producers.
Yeah.
And his monthly income doubled.
Doubled? From what?
From around $30,000 to $60,000 a month. And get this, his weekly hours dropped from 80 down to about 15.
80 to 15, that's insane. It really drives home that saying lack of time is actually a lack of priority.
It really does.
But firing 97% of customers, I mean, that sounds super aggressive. Are there downsides he maybe doesn't stress? Like, how do you even know which 20% are the vital ones?
That's a fair point. The potential downside is definitely alienating people, maybe missing future growth from smaller clients who could become big. But Ferriss stresses using data. Identify the actual top performers based on results, not just who shouts loudest or demands the most attention.
Okay, data-driven decisions.
And that ties into Parkinson's law.
Which is?
A task swells in perceived importance and complexity based on the time you allow for it.
Give yourself a week. It takes a week. Give yourself an hour.
Exactly. So the combo is powerful. Focus only on the vital few tasks, 80-20, and give yourself very short deadlines to do them. Parkinson's.
He tells that story about his Princeton paper, right?
Yeah, a 30-page paper due the next day. He wrote it in 24 hours under crazy pressure. Got an A. The deadline forced him to cut everything non-essential. Just the core argument. So use both. Identify the critical few tasks, then schedule them with short, sharp deadlines.
To really hammer this elimination idea home, he flips the script with the not-to-do list.
Right. Instead of what you should do, focus on what you should stop doing. Often more effective.
What are some key things on his list?
Things like stop answering calls from unrecognized numbers. Stop checking email first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Stop agreeing to meetings without a clear agenda and end time.
Boundaries again.
Definitely. Stop over-communicating with high-maintenance, low-profit customers. And a big one, stop expecting work to fill the voids in your personal life.
Oof, that hits home for a lot of people, I bet. And the punchline to all this elimination is that anecdote about the Star Wars dad.
Oh, right. His daughter tells her kindergarten teacher, "My dad just sits around and watches Star Wars all day."
Can you imagine that parent-teacher conference? But yeah, it perfectly illustrates the maybe eccentric goal of the 4-hour work week, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Which brings us to the next letter in deal. A for automation, putting your income on autopilot.
And this starts with outsourcing, virtual assistants, VAs.
Exactly. Outsourcing your life.
Yeah.
He highlights A.J. Jacobs, the Esquire editor, who famously experimented with this.
What did Jacobs outsource?
Pretty much everything. Research, formatting memos, even personal arguments with his wife. He outsourced them to VAs in India.
He outsourced arguments. Seriously?
Apparently so. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it illustrates the potential.
The idea seems almost sci-fi, but it's getting more common. What's the biggest misconception people have about VAs?
Probably that they're just for basic menial tasks, or that managing them is a huge hassle. Ferriss shows they can handle complex stuff, even MBA-level business planning.
And the key advantages?
Geographic arbitrage. Leveraging cost of living differences. You pay a fair wage in their location, which is way less than you'd pay locally for the same skill level. Massive efficiency gain.
Plus the time zone difference.
Right. Assign tasks at your day's end, wake up, and they're done. Ferriss himself cut his customer service emails from 200 a day down to less than 20 a week.
Oh.
By empowering his outsourcers, he let them make decisions, like resolving issues up to $100 without needing his approval. It removed him as the bottleneck.
That's a huge shift. So freeing up your time, how does he then define finding your muse, that autopilot business? What are the rules for that?
Right, the muse. It's a business designed from the start to run itself. The criteria are super specific.
Like what?
Costs less than $500 to test, can be automated within 4 weeks, and needs no more than 1 day a week of your management once it's up and running.
Okay, strict rules. What kind of business fits that best?
Information products are ideal, he argues.
How-to guides, online courses, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Low cost to create, fast to produce digitally, hard for others to copy easily, and the profit margins can be huge, like 20x to 50x markup.
Okay, so you have an idea for an info product. How do you know if anyone will actually buy it before you sink time and money into creating it?
This is crucial, he stresses. Creating demand is hard. Filling demand is much easier.
So find a need and fill it.
Precisely. Pick an affordably reachable niche market. Be a big fish in a small pond. Then you test. Minimal risk.
How do you test?
He recommends micro-testing with something like Google AdWords. Spend maybe $500 over 5 days, drive traffic to a simple page describing the product, see if people click buy or sign up for info before you make the actual product.
Smart. Validate first.
Totally. He gives examples like Sherwood testing French sailor shirts or Johanna testing a yoga DVD specifically for rock climbers. They measured real interest before investing fully.
This all leads towards being a remote control CEO. I love that quote from Warren Bennis. The factory of the future will have only 2 employees, a man and a dog.
The man feeds the dog, and the dog keeps the man from touching the equipment. Yeah, it's perfect. It's about designing the business architecture so it runs itself.
And empowering outsourcers is key there, letting them make decisions.
Absolutely. Giving them authority, say, up to $100 or even $400 to solve customer problems, builds trust, makes things faster, and frees you entirely from micromanaging day-to-day issues. You're out of the loop, which is the goal.
But what about customer trust? If everything's automated or outsourced, people might worry. Ferriss talks about using really strong guarantees, right? Lose-win guarantees.
Yeah, lose-win guarantees. They go way beyond a simple money-back offer.
How do they work?
The idea is the customer actually profits if the product or service fails them. Think Domino's old 30 minutes or its free pizza guarantee.
Ah, okay.
Or Ferriss's own body QECK supplement had a 110% refund. If it didn't work, you got your money back plus 10% extra.
Wow. Doesn't that get abused?
He argues that, fundamentally, most people are honest. If your product is solid, the increased sales from removing customer risk far outweigh the small percentage who might abuse it. It turns a potential negative into a positive experience.
Okay, makes sense. Now we hit the final letter in DEAL. L for liberation, true freedom. For employees, this means the disappearing act, getting remote work. Super relevant now.
Absolutely. The pandemic accelerated this massively, but Ferriss was talking about it way back.
What are his strategies for negotiating that, for making the shift?
It's methodical. He uses Sherwood's example again. First step, increase your value to the company, make them invest in you. Then prove you're actually more productive remotely.
Build your case.
Exactly. And timing is key. When you ask is often more important than how. Build leverage first.
How did Sherwood do it specifically?
He started by being just around the corner, super responsive on IM, so people stopped physically looking for him. Then he proposed a trial, maybe 1 or 2 remote days a week. Proved it worked. Gradually increased it until he was fully remote.
Sneaky but effective. That leads right into mini retirements, challenging that whole work till 65 thing.
Yeah, instead of saving all your free time for one big retirement block at the end, you sprinkle these extended periods of leisure, travel, or learning throughout your life.
And again, the finances are surprising.
Totally. That sailing trip example, 18, 19K for over a year, less than rent. Or chartering a private plane in Argentina for like $150. These aren't just long vacations. He calls them anti-vacations.
Anti-vacations.
Yeah, like a life reset, a chance to re-examine things, create a blank slate, slow down enough that the experience actually changes you.
It reminds me of that Mexican fisherman story he tells.
Oh, the classic, the American businessman pitching this complex plan to get rich.
So he can eventually retire to a quiet village, relax, fish a little.
Only to realize the local fisherman is already doing exactly that right now.
It's such a perfect mic drop on the deferred life plan idea, isn't it? Makes you really think.
It really does.
But okay, reality check. For a lot of people, especially with families, the idea of long-term travel brings up fears, practical worries. How does Ferriss handle those?
He tackles them directly. He shares Robin Malinsky Rummel's story traveling South America for a year with her husband and 7-year-old son. They even volunteered.
So it is possible with kids.
Her point was that people often use kids as an excuse not to be adventurous. And practically. There are tools now. Earth-class mail scans your physical mail. Skype in gives you local phone numbers abroad. Go to My PC lets you access your home computer. You can stay connected and manage things remotely.
And he suggests traveling light.
Yeah, the buy it there approach. Don't haul tons of stuff. Just buy necessities locally as needed. Reduces clutter.
Speaking of clutter, the final liberation step is literally cutting the clutter, physical decluttering.
Yes. Before you embrace mobility, getting rid of physical baggage is huge. He talks about his own experience, how tough it was emotionally, but ultimately freeing, to sell or donate most of his stuff, enough to fit in a small storage unit.
What did he learn from that?
He realized he basically wore the same few outfits all the time anyway, and barely used most of the possessions he was clinging to. It's about recognizing that sometimes more becomes less. True freedom isn't just accumulation. It's about having free time and shedding unnecessary burdens.
So wrapping this all up, the deal process. Define, eliminate, automate, liberate. It's a powerful framework, isn't it? A real alternative.
It offers a compelling alternative, yeah. It basically says life doesn't have to be this constant grind towards some far-off reward.
You don't have to wait until you're 62 or whatever the age is to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Exactly. You can structure things, get those rewards now, throughout your life. He makes a really strong case against deferring living.
It definitely shifts your perspective on what's achievable. I'm thinking of that poem he includes at the end.
Oh yeah, the one that says, you better slow down, don't dance so fast, time is short, the music won't last.
And then, when you run so fast to get somewhere, you miss half the fun of getting there. Really captures the essence.
It does. The ultimate message feels like. Well, like Thich Nhat Hanh's quote Ferriss uses, the miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the green earth, dwelling deeply in the present moment and feeling truly alive.
So maybe the challenge for you, listening, is to consider what assumptions you could challenge in your own life. What does time and mobility really mean for you?
Yeah, what's maybe one small thing you could eliminate this week?
Yeah.
Even just an annoying notification.
And maybe what's one dream you're ready to actually define? Not for someday, but to start moving towards, well, today.